laid awake at night pondering the topic of if you're doing anything that actually matters. I'm Cogitation, and I'm here to have a discussion. First, let us begin with the point of view of yes, it does matter what we do. Most state that we do things that affect future generations and even ourselves as of right now, such as polluting the earth, which leads to climate change and impacts all walks of life. Although this doesn't immediately affect us, but in 5 years it most certainly will, and generations will suffer unless they can move off planet. Animals perish and biodiversity decreases, and global climate shifts and becomes irreparable. Costs go up, and under capitalist regimes, the majority suffers as the governments are too obsessed with making a large profit instead of the well-being of their population. But it also traces back to hybrid individualism of people, and in this context, I'm strictly talking about America as well. I live here. We are so obsessed with our material possessions and ourselves and our own well-beings rather than the planet we inhabit and the people in it. When a person falls and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't affect us, why should we care? No matter what happens to someone and what that could mean, as long as it doesn't immediately impact you, you most likely don't care. Anyways, I will come back to this as my next point being the opposite of this, of individualism. Another thing that people argue that we do matters, that what we do matters is technology. If we didn't create certain things, we wouldn't be where we are today and wouldn't have the luxuries we have today. The benefits of modern medicine, schooling, and communication devices, etc. These things allow us to progress as a species and as a collective, and allows for more connectivity across the globe, fighting against the individualism as I mentioned earlier, because as you can see, many care about the world around us and want to make a change, and if we didn't create these things, changes wouldn't be made. People wouldn't be able to spread awareness about certain matters and feel connected with people in any way, shape, or form, even if most are virtue signaling for cool kid points to make themselves feel better. It still works as some people take them seriously and talk about whatever issue it is. My next point that people take to is relationships. People believe what they do matters individually, as they need to satisfy their needs for any kind of relationship. People like to be a part of something no matter how much one denies it or says they're better off alone. They desire at least one person in their lives. Now this may spiral into an unhealthy parasocial relationship with someone who doesn't even know them, but it just goes to show how much people desire relationships and how much people care, how people need them. People do things that matter to them to keep relationships. Imitating relationship matters. Fuck, who the fuck? Oh, them. Whatever the fuck, dude. It matters not only to them, but the people around them. Maybe growing a friend group, so there are multiple people you can rely on. There's only human to desire these things. My final point is down on the personal level. People do things only for themselves to have hope and to become a better person and be happy with who they are. The choices they make matter to them because no matter the outcome, most will have a destination they want to reach. So they will make decisions and do things they want to because it matters to them. In the long run, they believe it will matter even if it doesn't affect the rest of the world. They continue to struggle, as is their human nature, and their will to become better than they were before. Or now, on to the next section of the opposing side of the previous argument, the no argument, I guess, or the nihilist point of view. But first, let me give you the definition of a nihilist in case you're unclear. A person who believes that life is meaningless and rejects all religious and moral principles. Many young people are nihilists as they majorly see the evil and the efforts of many amounting to nothing. It provides no catharsis of any hope they had. Now this may actually help people break out of their shells and be who they want, as they know they'll die anyways, and most won't remember or care for them, so they do anything they want. May consider them free, not held back by the hope of making changes and only making changes for themselves. They don't care about the world or their next door neighbor. They care for themselves and a few select people. Remember how I mentioned individualism? Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about. even when not taking capitalism into account. A lot of people just only care about themselves. And this, I believe, majorly stems from the nihilist point of view. They see life as meaningless, but still push forward only for themselves and do whatever pleases them, as they know their death. As they know after their death, it won't matter what they did. For most, I believe they do it despite the fear-mongering they had as a child from religion being stuffed down their throats, or just a logical step from reading Friedrich Nietzsche. For most, it's liberating as now they can fully act in their own self-interest and not have many worries for repercussions. I'm not a nihilist, but from seeing many of my nihilist points of views and me teetering on nihilism before, I've come to these conclusions, so these may not be correct, so take this whole section with a teeny grain of salt, because I'm still a genius. You're goddamn right, brother, you're goddamn right. Now it's time for my pitch-perfect point of view, which is 100% correct. I'm more in the middle. I get the nihilist point of view, point that nothing matters. What you do won't drastically change the world, but it could affect someone near you. Viewing one thing may change someone's whole life, and you could be that one light someone needed. And you may or may not be remembered by the world, but you'll be remembered by that one person, and that one person may carry your name carry on your name through your family. You could give hope to those people through your words or actions. Because yes, in the grand scheme of things, you most likely will not be remembered, but you will be remembered by what you did for your family and what you did for those outside of it. Plus, you shouldn't use nihilism as an excuse for your selflessness. You should live virtuously either way, as you have only one life. And you shouldn't spend it being focused on yourself the whole time. Be virtuous and offer a gold star in the afterlife if there is one. You should genuinely be noble and virtuous instead of doing so, hoping God shines a light on you and you get accepted in heaven. Hell yeah, brother, hell yeah. Most spiritual veil. As Marcus Aurelius said, live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on your virtues, on the virtue you have lived by. If there are gods but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, you will be gone, but you will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. Outro. Thanks for listening to this discussion. I had fun writing it, and asking people's opinions, which influenced how I wrote this, so I thank them. Get a good night's rest.